William Stone stood by the clinic window, watching golden leaves twirl across the lot. His frame, once a pride in bespoke jackets, now sagged under a burden of anxiety. The past 3 months had stretched endlessly, since the crash that left his 12-year-old daughter, Lily, unable to walk below her waist. Each day bled into another with doctor visits, rehab sessions, and restless nights. "Mr. Stone," the nurse's voice broke his reverie. "Lily's ready to head home now." William nodded, his expression a careful veil off. Calm. At 58, he'd built a proper-time empire spanning 3 states. He'd tackled impossible challenges, closed deals others deemed lost. Yet he couldn't mend what mattered most: his Lily, his light, bound to a wheelchair, perhaps for life. That afternoon, William pushed Lily through Hokewood Park's paths. Near their grand Victorian home in the historic quarter, Lily had been silent. Since leaving the clinic, her gaze locked on her hands, her auburn hair, so like her mother's before illness claimed her for years prior, falling dully around her face. "Look, Dad," Lily said suddenly, pointing to a small boy leaning against a tree. "He's maybe 10 or 11, in tattered clothes, barefoot despite the October cold. He's been here all week." William frowned. "You've been watching him from my window?" "He stays there all day, sometimes sketching in the dirt with a twig." As they neared, the boy glanced up. His deep hazel eyes carried a depth beyond his years, and William was struck by the quiet grace in his stare. "Hello," the boy said, his voice tinged with a faint accent William couldn't pinpoint. Lily smiled, her first true smile in months. "Hi. I'm Lily." "I'm Samuel," the boy answered, rising and dusting off his worn trousers. "I see you daily from my place here." William observed the child. He was visibly underfed, his collarbones sharp under his thin shirt. Yet there was a warmth, a presence that felt oddly familiar. "Where are your parents, Samuel?" William asked, his tone gentler than he'd meant. "I live with my grandmother now, to streets that way." Samuel pointed toward the humble homes lining the park's east edge. "She's very old and can't work anymore. I help however I can." Lily rolled closer to Samuel. "Do you attend school?" Samuel shook his head. "Not since we arrived here. Grandmother says soon, when things improve." He paused, looking at William. "Sir, I know how to help your daughter walk again." William felt a surge of frustration. How dare this boy offer false hope? He'd seen the best doctors in the nation. "Samuel," he started sharply, but Lily cut in. "How?" she asked, her voice quivering with hope William couldn't stand to hear. Samuel smiled. "Not with drugs or devices, with something different. May I show you tomorrow, both of you?" William wanted to say no, tousled Lily from certain letdown, but her pleading eyes stopped him. "Fine, tomorrow at 10. The next morning, despite his doubts, William brought Lily back to the park. Samuel was waiting, tiddier than before, his clothes still worn but neatly ironed. "Thank you for coming," Samuel said, his smile lighting his thin face. "I want to show you something unique." He guided them down a trail William hadn't seen before, to a small glade where 7 elderly folks sat in a circle on folding chairs. In the center, a woman in her 70s taught a young girl with leg braces to play a violin. "This is where I go when I'm not by the tree," Samuel explained. "These are the overlooked owns, as my grandmother calls them. They have no families, or their families have no time. Miss Eleanor was a violin teacher for 50 years. She's teaching Rose now." William watched as the older woman gently guided the girl's bow across the strings. The music was uneven, flawed, but the joy in their faces was unmistakable. "I don't understand," William said. "Keep watching," Samuel replied, leading them to a bench. For the next hour, William saw something remarkable. An elderly man with shaky hands taught a boy with Down syndrome to carve wood. A silver-haired woman helped a teen with autism arrange wildflowers. A man reminded William of his own father. Gannett 20 years, read poetry to 2 children in wheelchairs. "They come here daily," Samuel explained. "Grandmother began it. She says everyone needs to feel needed. The elders have knowledge, but no one to share it with. The special children have love but few places to belong." William felt a shift within, like a long-sealed door starting to ease open. "But how does this help Lily walk?" he asked, his voice catching. Samuel smiled. Mr. Stone, your daughter's legs may not function as before, but her heart and mind are vibrant. These people taught me that healing isn't always about mending what's broken. Sometimes it's about finding a new way. He turned to Lily. Miss Eleanor needs help teaching the young'uns. Her arthritis stops her from showing them. Would you like to learn violin, Lily? You could be her hands over the next weeks. Something flourished in Lily that no treatment could spark. She started violin lessons with Eleanor, her natural gift quickly shining. Soon, she was aiding 3 younger children, her wheelchair fading in the joy of music. William found himself pulled into the circle too. He used his business network to secure proper chairs, instruments, and art supplies. He helped one of the elderly men, Henry, start a small woodworking venture, selling handcrafted toys. The grief that had darkened his eyes since his wife's death began to lift. As Christmas neared, William invited Samuel and his grandmother, Clara, to dinner at their home-cooked meals that became a Sunday ritual. Clara shared her story, how she and Samuel escaped violence in their homeland, how her daughter, Samuel's mother, didn't survive the journey. Samuel carried me across 3 borders when my legs failed. She told William one evening as they watched Lily and Samuel decorated gingerbread houses. Now he lifts others, just differently. On a snowy February evening, William sat with Lily as she practiced an intricate violin piece for her first recital. Dad, she said, setting down her bow, I understand now what Samuel meant that first day. What's that, sunshine? He didn't make my legs work again. He showed me I'm more than my legs. Her eyes, so like her mother's, gleamed with insight beyond her years. And he helped you too, didn't he? William nodded, his throat tight. That property empire he'd built felt less vital now. The community center he was creating in the old Harrison building, where the overlooked could teach and learn year-round, gave him a purpose he hadn't known in decades. Yes, he said at last. Samuel showed me that sometimes our deepest scars become bridges to our greatest treasures. We just need someone to guide us across, outside. Snow fell gently on the garden where William had set up raised beds for spring planting. Samuel had designed them himself, crafting them so elderly hands with artists and children in wheelchairs couldn't the flowers. Bridges, William thought, not just for crossing troubled waters, but for linking hearts, for second chances at kind of wealth that truly counts. He looked at Lily, her face alive as she spoke of her plans to teach music at the new center, and silently thanked the unexpected Jude, who had shown them both how to walk again in all the ways that truly matter.